Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Gonna be giving you a preview for the West Ham Manchester United game. It's on Saturday, 5:30 kick-off at the London Stadium. West Ham are coming into this game on the back of a 2-1 win against Aston Villa. West Ham have won their last 3 games in the Premier League. They are sitting 5th in the Premier League table. That's very, very good to their standards. They've won 5 games out of 10 this season in the league. David Moyes is going to be reuniting with Manchester United. David Moyes is a former Manchester United manager. He endured around, 8 or 8.5 months with us. He did endure the shortest tenure at the club. We finished 7th under the David Moyes era. That's the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. Moyes is now into his second spell with West Ham. Obviously, before he's managed Real Sociedad and Sunderland. He obviously got Sunderland relegated. He managed Everton for around 11 years. I think that's the only team he's done well at, David Moyes. West Ham have got quite a few good players in their team. Lanzini, he's one of their key players. They've also got Mikel Antonio, he's one of their key players. He's just come back from a hamstring injury. They've got Sebastian Haller, he's also one of their key players. They've got Declan Rice, he's one of their key players. Manchester United have been in for him quite a few times. They've also got Pablo Fornals. I think they've still got Jack Wilshere, but he sustained quite a few injuries. They've got Mark Noble. They've got Robert Snodgrass. They've got Jared Bowen. Will he be in contention to play for West Ham on Saturday? They've obviously got Issa Diop, who's a very, very good centre-half. They've got Yarmolenko. Don't forget he had to self-isolate not so long ago because he got tested positive for coronavirus. They've obviously got Ryan Fredericks. Fabianski's their goalkeeper. They've got Ben Rama. They got him on loan from Brentford. Will he be in contention to play in this game for West Ham? They've also got Dawson. I think they got Dawson on loan from Watford. Now, we have lost our last 2 visits at the London Stadium. The last time we played at the London Stadium, we lost 2-0. And we lost there 3-1 under the Jose Mourinho era. We're coming into this game on the back of a 3-1 defeat to PSG in the Champions League. But we have won our last 3 games in the league. So our form in the league has improved in recent weeks. I was very, very disappointed with the result against PSG. Like I said to you on my match reaction earlier on today, PSG totally dominated the first half. But I thought in the second half, Manchester United improved because, like I mentioned, Martial had 2 very, very good chances. He missed an absolute sitter. Martial isn't clinical enough. Now, there may be a few Manchester United fans saying that he needs to be dropped. Obviously, Martial was playing on that left-hand side against PSG. Martial's enjoyed a poor start to this season. He was good last season, though, because he scored 23 goals in 48 games. He was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal era. Solskjaer was obviously the one that gave him the number 9 shirt. Edinson Cavani, he had a great chance in the game against PSG. He hit the crossbar. Obviously, Fred got sent off in the game. He received 2 yellow cards. Fred was lucky not to be sent off in the first half, though, because he headbutted Paredes. He got the second yellow card for the challenge on Ander Herrera. That certainly wasn't a booking, the foul on Ander Herrera, because, Fred had won the ball. But Fred shouldn't have been on the pitch, so he shouldn't have been sent off. And it was an awful decision by Solskjaer to not take him off the pitch. But Solskjaer has admitted that he made a mistake. He basically said that maybe he should have taken Fred off, but he defended his decision not to take him off. Obviously, the goals, Neymar scored 2 for PSG, and Marquinhos scored, and Rafinha got an assist, and Dalot got an assist. Our goal came from Marcus Rashford, but it actually was deflected, but the goal I think had been given to Marcus Rashford. But yeah, I was very disappointed. That's our second defeat now in the group stage. We only needed a point. If we had avoided defeat, then we would have been into the knockout stages of the Champions League. So now we've got one game remaining in the group stage, and that's RB Leipzig next week. And we must either draw or win that game to get into the knockout stages. And RB Leipzig's going to be a tough game. We did beat them 5-0 at Old Trafford. Marcus Rashford scored a hat-trick. The other goals came from Anthony Martial and Mason Greenwood. But I think the game at RB Leipzig is going to be totally contrast to the one at Old Trafford. RB Leipzig have got one of the best young managers in the world in Julian Nagelsmann. And don't forget, they got to the Champions League semi-finals last season, and they finished 3rd in the Bundesliga last season. But I'll be very, very disappointed if we don't get into the knockout stages. But, PSG, like I mentioned, they're a good team. They've got good players. They got to the Champions League final last season. They lost to Bayern Munich. Obviously Solskjaer's beaten PSG twice as Manchester United manager, because we beat them in Paris earlier on in the season. And we knocked them out of the last 16 a few seasons ago. We beaten them 3-1. We overcame a 2-goal deficit. But yeah, Fred won't be available for the game against Leipzig, because obviously he did get sent off. I think in this game against West Ham on Saturday, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is probably going to make some changes. Now, there's obviously reports coming out saying that Marcus Rashford is a doubt for this game because he sustained a shoulder injury in our 3-1 loss to PSG. I'm hopeful that the injury isn't too severe. He actually said he had a shoulder problem before the West Brom game. That's why he missed one of England's games during the international break. Rashford also had a back problem last season and he was out for a few months. I think Rashford did well against PSG. I think he's really improved under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. He turned 23 quite a few weeks ago now. He's been at the club a good 15 years or so, because he's been a United player since the age of 7 and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. I think Rashford's more effective out wide than he is centrally. He played on the right wing against PSG. He played on the right wing against Besiktas. He seldom plays there. He played centrally against Southampton. But we need to keep him out wide. Marcus Rashford. So we'll know more news when Ollie's done his press conference building up to this game. Now, Luke Shaw, he's been out with a hamstring injury. I think he's been back in training not so long ago, but I think now he is close to returning. That's my only element of concern about Luke Shaw. He's too injury prone. Before he got this hamstring injury, I thought he was in very, very good form. Luke Shaw's enjoyed a good 6 years or so at the football club. We paid £30 million for him from Southampton back in 2014. Now, Eric Bailly, I think he's available. He's just come back from muscle injury not so long ago. That's my element of concern about Eric Bailly. Too injury prone. I think he's a very, very good centre-half. You know, Bailly's enjoyed a good 4 years or so at the football club. We paid £30 million for him from Villarreal back in 2016. Phil Jones, I think he's still out with injury. Jesse Lingard, he's now back. Don't forget he's now out of his self-isolation period. At one point he was injured. David De Gea, I think he's obviously now okay. David De Gea did sustain a knee injury in our 3-2 win against Southampton last weekend. David De Gea obviously attempted to keep out James Ward-Prowse's free kick, and obviously he banged his knee on the goalpost. And that reflects on that. David De Gea was a doubt for the PSG game, but obviously he started in the PSG game because obviously he did have the scan on his knee. David De Gea, by the way, has really, really impressed me this season. I think he's made good saves in quite a few games. I think he made 2 good saves against PSG to deny Florenzi and Mitchell Bakker. Some people say he was at fault for the first goal. You know, I said David De Gea will remain our number 1 this season. This is David De Gea's 10th season at Manchester United, so he has been a long servant. He has now made over 500 appearances for the club in all competitions. Obviously, there's been a few Manchester United fans saying now it is the right moment to put Dean Henderson as our number 1. You know, Dean Henderson made his Premier League debut last week against Southampton. And he did quite well. I think at some point he will become our number 1. He has got that experience behind him because he enjoyed 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. He had loan spells with Grimsby, Stockport and Shrewsbury. We got him at the age of 14, Henderson, so he's been part of the club for several years. During the summer transfer window, he signed a 6-year contract with the club worth 120 grand a week. Solskjaer said prior to the Istanbul Besiktas game that Dean Henderson wants to stay at Man United and he wants to play at the club. Obviously, there has been reports of him possibly going out on loan. Donny van der Beek, now, I want him to start this game against West Ham. If he does start, it will be his second start in the Premier League for the club. I think Donny van der Beek should have started against PSG, but he didn't. That was a mistake Solskjaer made. I think Donny van der Beek has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. But Donny van der Beek denies being unhappy at the club. You know, he said he's willing to be patient for his opportunities. You know, we paid £40 million for him from Ajax. Don't forget, he did have a swollen ankle. this was obviously before the PSG game. I think he sustained this injury in our 3-2 win against Southampton. Obviously, he recovered. We start Donny van de Beek against West Ham. We need to put him in that deeper role because that's where he's more effective. You know, he started in that deeper role against Southampton. He also started in that deeper role against Istanbul Başakşehir. But you can also put him in the number 10. We started him in the number 10 against Leipzig. And you can also put him out wide. Alex Telles. I think he'll start this game against West Ham. Alex Telles obviously started against PSG recently. I thought he had a pretty good game, you know, got forward well, got into some decent positions. Defensively, though, didn't really do that good. Telles has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. You know, he did quite well against PSG. He did well against Southampton. He did quite well against Başakşehir. He did well on his Premier League debut against West Brom. And he did well on his Champions League debut against PSG in Paris. We paid 15.4 million for him, with add-ons included. He did have a minor problem, didn't he, after the Southampton game, but obviously he came back quick. Telles is obviously now our first choice left back. Now, Edinson Cavani, I don't think he's going to be available for this game. Edinson Cavani is facing a 3-match ban. That's minimum for the racist comment he'd put on social media. The FA have obviously been investigating this social media post. It recently said that the FA have not yet made a decision on what's going to happen. By the way, Edinson Cavani deleted this post. But Solskjaer said in his press conference prior to the PSG game that Edinson Cavani has apologised. All he said, he supports the FA though for investigating the social media post. Edinson Cavani has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. You know, he scored twice against Southampton last weekend and he also got an assist. He did well against Istanbul Başakşehir. He did well against West Brom when he came on. He scored his first goal for the club in our 3-1 win against Everton. And he almost scored with his first touch when he came on against Chelsea. You know, we got him on a free transfer on deadline day, signed a 2-year contract with Man United worth around 240 grand a week. And I said when we got him in, he will be the next Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Edinson Cavani. Now, Antonio Martial, I'm expecting him to be involved in this game against West Ham. A lot of United fans now saying he needs to be dropped because obviously he isn't being clinical enough, Anthony Martial. Mason Greenwood, he will probably be involved in this game. He didn't start against PSG, but he did come on, so Greenwood could start this game against West Ham. You know, he could start on that right-hand side, couldn't he? I haven't really had much of a perception on Mason Greenwood this season because obviously he's had a lot of off-field issues. But Solskjaer's been defending him a lot this season. This is Mason Greenwood's second season in our senior squad. You know, he's got a contract with Man United till 2023, and at the beginning of the year, we give him that number 11 shirt. He's the fourth Manchester United player to wear the number 11. Now, Paul Pogba, he didn't start against PSG, but he did come on. Paul Pogba missed our last 3 games prior to the PSG game because obviously he had a swollen ankle, like Solskjaer confirmed. Solskjaer confirmed though that the ankle injury was totally contrast to the one that he had last season. Now, to be honest with you, I think we look better without Paul Pogba in the team. Analysing the vast majority of Paul Pogba's career, he has been very, very inconsistent. He's only had a good couple of periods at the football club. Now, Paul Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. Don't forget he made an admission earlier on this season saying that one day his dream is to join Real Madrid. Last year, Pogba said he wanted to leave Man United because he was seeking for a new challenge. There's obviously been a lot of narratives of him going back to Juventus. Pogba did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus, but the vast majority of his performances at Man United have been totally contrast to his ones at Juventus. I think for Juventus to get him, they'd have to offload a couple of their players. PSG and Barcelona have been in for him before. Now, Paul Pogba made quite a few comments during the international break, saying that this season has been the most difficult period in his career. And he says playing for France is a breath of fresh air. And reflects on the comments, he did receive a lot of criticism. Didier Deschamps, the France manager, he said during the international break that Paul Pogba cannot be happy with his situation at Man United for being left on the bench and for playing out of position. And he basically said he understands Paul Pogba better than Solskjaer. Earlier on in the season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract. So he's under contract with Man United till June 2022. Obviously, Paul Pogba wasn't happy with this. During the summer transfer window, Pogba's agent Mino Raiola revealed that Pogba wanted to stay and he said he would hold talks over a new long-term contract. Now, as it stands, there is no talks over getting him a long-term contract at the club. At the moment, he is our most expensive signing because we paid £89 million for him. And he's into his 5th season at the club since he rejoined Paul Pogba. So he could be in contention to play in this game, could even start it. But yeah, I expect Paul Pogba to leave next year. Next summer's more likely than the January transfer window. It was said a few weeks ago that Paul Pogba intends to leave the football club on a free transfer. Obviously when his contract does expire, but obviously we'd want to cash in for him. Now, McTominay, he's just come back from a knock. He did obviously start against PSG. He was playing alongside Fred, and I thought McTominay was very, very poor, to be honest with you. I've got my reservations about him. Fred, do you think he'll be involved in this game against West Ham? Fred, though, has improved under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. He has enjoyed some bad games this season, but most of his games he has been consistent. We paid £47 million for him from Shakhtar Donetsk, didn't we? Now, Nemanja Matic, I don't see him playing in this game. Like I said to you, Matic has lost his place in the team. The only reason he was playing recently quite a lot is because Pogba wasn't available and McTominay wasn't available. But Matic is behind the likes of McTominay and Fred and that. I think Matic could be sold next year. Matic sure did have some good games towards the end of last season, didn't he? We got him for £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Now, Wan-Bissaka, I'm expecting him to start in this game against West Ham. I've got to say I've been very, very impressed with Wan-Bissaka this season. He's enjoyed quite a few good games. In the games he's played well and he's showed some good attacking intent. He's put some good crosses into the box. He's got in good He's got in decent positions. His defensive contributions being good. He's only scored 1 goal for the club, and that was the 4-1 win against Newcastle earlier on in the season when he scored, and he got an assist in the PSG game recently. But we've still got element of concerns about his lack of attacking intent and his distribution. This is why Man United are in search for a right back. This is his second season now at the football club. We got him in a deal worth £50 million from Palace in the summer of 2019. We've obviously got another option at right back, and that's Timothy Fosu-Mensah. Now, the last time I read up about Fosu-Mensah, Man United reportedly offered him a 3-year contract because Solskjaer wants to keep him at the club. He's only started like 4 times in 3.5 years at the club. Last season we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract. Now, I think the 2 centre-halves against West Ham will be Lindelof and Harry Maguire, because obviously they're our first choice centre-halves. Lindelof and Maguire I thought were very, very poor against PSG. You know, looked far too exposed at the back, and they was all over the place, and they couldn't deal with the pace of the likes of Mbappe and Neymar. You know, I think Harry Maguire has enjoyed some good games this season for Man United. You know, don't forget he did have early season troubles because he had that incident in Greece and he sustained a few knocks and he got sent off in England's 1-0 defeat to Denmark earlier on in the season. Harry Maguire is our current captain at the moment. Should he remain Man United captain? And, you know, we got him in a deal worth £80 million from Leicester. Axel Tuanzebe, he's another option at centre-half. He would be available for this game. He wasn't available for the game against PSG recently because he was suspended. He got a 3rd booking in the Istanbul Başakşehir game. Tuanzebe was absolutely exceptional though in the game against Paris. I like the way he dealt with Mbappe and Neymar. Like I said, Bay's another option at centre-half. So there you go. Bruno Fernandes, like I've mentioned, he is undroppable at the moment. I don't think he was great though against PSG, like I mentioned on my match reaction. I thought he was a bit off the pace. I thought he wasn't. I don't think he was that influential, but he did have some pretty good touches in the game. Bruno Fernandes' worst game in a Manchester United shirt was probably the 2-1 loss to Istanbul Başakşehir, where he was dispossessed around 34 times. Bruno Fernandes won Player of the Month for November. He's won it now quite a few times. You know, Fernandes has been at Man United now for almost a year. He's definitely the best signing we have made since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. We paid €55 million for him from Sporting Lisbon, and Fernandes is under contract with Man United till 2025. He predominantly plays in that number 10. Bruno Fernandes. Daniel James, now, if Rashford isn't to be available, then I think he could start this game. There again, though, you can put Martial on the left, can't you? But Daniel James could be involved. Daniel James's appearances are limited at Man United, but despite that, he said he still loves it at the football club. You know, do you think Juan Mata could be involved in the game? So yeah, I am really, really looking forward to this game against West Ham. Away from home, we've been very, very good. We've won our last 8 away games in a row in the Premier League, and we haven't lost away from home in the Premier League since January. Now, I think the pressure is back on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, reflecting on that 3-1 defeat to PSG. So we've obviously got to beat West Ham for the pressure to ease off him a little bit again. But the thing that worries me about Solskjaer is his decision-making. I think his decision-making is very, very poor. But on the other side of things, he has been a few games where he has showed tactical flexibility, and that's been in a lot of the big games, isn't it? You know, this is Solskjaer's second full season at Manchester United, and you know, he's been in charge of the club now for almost 2 years. later on this month is going to be his 2-year anniversary at the football club. You know, he's under contract with Man United until 2022. I'm very, very sceptical that he'll see out his contract at the club. He's managed over 100 games for Man United in all competitions. It's obviously good that we are making plans for next year, because obviously next year we are looking to make more signings, and we're also looking to get rid of more players because there's still deadwood in the squad. But Solskjaer made his prediction ahead of the January transfer window, and he said he doesn't expect a busy January transfer window and that. So yeah. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.